What's good, everybody? I'm BPC, and welcome to Competitive Origins MMA. Well, Jake, the problem child, Paul, faced off against funky Ben Askren in the main event of Triller Fight Club at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, I'll cut straight to it. Ben was waiting in the ring. Jake Paul started to come down to the ring, and he was followed by a large dancing robot, which I actually thought was pretty cool. The robot kind of reminded me of the robot that they have at the NFL Fox shows and stuff, but obviously that's animated. This is actually a live action robot, so I thought that was totally cool. Now, Pete Davidson, who was one of the hosts and actually a commentator, had a joke about, the problem child, in which he stated, "I wish I was that dumb so I could be that happy." He obviously had negative comments about Jake Paul the entire event, and it was just funny to see that he continued on with them. Now, Snoop even chimed in on the whole situation and stated that, "I don't know if that's a Decepticon or an Autobahn." And obviously I thought that was funny because there's no such thing as an Autobahn, it's an Autobot, but we all got what Snoop was trying to say. Now, Michael Buffer was actually the announcer, so they obviously paid some pretty good money to get a buffer in the ring to do the introduction. And what I thought was I don't know, Michael Buffer is a professional at his job. I don't know what was on his cue cards, but he ended up calling Ben Askren Ben Askew. So we have all the jokes that are flying around, and then you have this whole Ben Askew situation, and it's like, all right, guys, it's kind of setting the tone for me like this is all just one big joke, which I guess a lot of people felt this fight would be a big joke at the end of the day. But if you want to know all the fighters that Jake Paul was engaging with that could possibly be his next opponent after this fight, go into the description below and click the links and check them out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell and hit the like button on this video. Well, round number one started and Jake Paul charged at Ben Askren. He was just more active. But Ben did land a nice overhand, and I was like, whoa, shoot, he landed the best shot so far in the fight. But the commentator started to chip in there and started talking about how he had the body of Vince Vaughn body. They said he had the body of a history teacher. They said he was built like a bag of milk. And then Snoop at the end was stating, you thought I was going to bet $2 million on a goofball? So they were all getting their jokes in at Ben Askren, which I guess at the end of the day, that's what kind of the whole Triller Fight Club is. They roast whoever they want to roast, and it's just a free-for-all, and everybody has fun with it. But like I said, it just made me feel like, okay, we have a boxer or a YouTuber that's been training boxing for 2 years versus a MMA fighter that doesn't do any type of boxing, striking, or whatsoever. And then everybody's bashing on him. It just seemed like everything was just heading into one direction. The odds were against Ben at the end of the day. Well, Ben did chase, the problem child. He was looking for a fight. He was trying to, get him out of there, and at one point they did clinch. And on the first clinch, the referee actually gave, Ben Askren a warning, which was kind of like, dude, like, what, there's no clinching in boxing anymore, like I've seen clinching through tons of boxing fights. If you look at Tyson versus Lennox Lewis, that's all Lennox Lewis did was clinch with him and lean on him and weigh on him, and the referee allowed it. And now we're in a situation where there's no such thing as clinching. Now, I'm not saying that was Ben Askren's technique to lay on him and wait on him the whole time, but after the first clinch, it was already a warning. It just didn't make any sense to me. And then you factor in, when you look at the Nate Robinson fight with Jake Paul, they clinched every 5 seconds. It was like punch, 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 clinch. Punch, 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 clinch, punch, 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 clinch. And there were no warnings, you know what I mean? But here, Ben Askren is getting a warning immediately, and that just seemed like it was a very biased situation. It was like, no, we are going to place everything in the favor of Jake Paul, you know what I mean? And it just didn't make any sense. Even with the Tyson and Roy Jones fight, Roy Jones kept trying to clinch, whenever Tyson went in, and there was no big warning, and here it was like, no, we have to place the odds in favor of Jake Paul. So that I thought was fishy too. It was just all these things lining up for him. Jake Paul did land a great body shot. He actually landed several great body shots. He landed some nice headshots, but Ben did seem unfazed. Now, as it continued, then Jake leveled a right-hander that was just an absolute bomb and just dropped Ben Askren down to the ground like a sack of potatoes. That was truly accurate, and they didn't even state that, but he just went boop onto the ground, and you're just like, oh shoot, like he friggin' hammered him. Well, you know, Ben friggin' being the individual that he is tough. We all know that. If you saw his fight with Robbie Lawler, you know that he can definitely take an absolute beating and keep on going. And Ben was back on his feet by the fifth, at the referee counting to number 5. Well, Jake Paul charged in to continue the fight, and the referee had to stop Jake Paul, send him back to the corner, and that's when, you know, the referee continued to count Ben Askren to number 8. Well, he asked Ben Askren to step forward, you know, the referee then stopped the fight right then and there. And Ben Askren, you know, even stated, the referee talked to him and he said, I'm ready to go, I'm good and stuff. And the referee just didn't want to continue the fight. And he waved it completely off. Now, this is where I have a massive issue with that. Because if you look at the history of Ben Askren, that fight with Robbie Lawler, he was dropped on his head. He was then punched in his face, elbowed in his face till he was a bloody mess, like almost like 15 to 20 times without blocking any of these shots. You know, and then when Ben got to his feet, he continued to pursue Robbie Lawler. And then he got kneed in his face and punched in his face several more times. So this guy is as tough as they come. And the referee made it seem like one punch was the one and done. It made absolutely no sense to me. And, you know, seeing how that went, you know, if you look at the Nate Robinson fight with Jake Paul, you know, Nate Robinson got dropped to the ground, right? And the referee counted to 9. Now, he was actually down for more than 9 seconds, but the referee counted to 9, and then Nate Robinson would stand up, and the referee would talk to him. And basically, I watched the counter on the clock. He would get an additional 14 seconds, right? And then when he got knocked down again, he would wait till 9 seconds by the referee's count, not by the actual counter. Okay, it was longer than that. And then he would wait an additional 14 seconds. The referee would talk to him for an additional 14 seconds after he did it. So it was like duplicate, you know, it was 9 seconds down, 14 seconds up, then continue to fight. 9 seconds down, 14 seconds up, and then continue to fight. And here we have Ben Askren that was able to get up in 5 seconds, and then the referee saw fit to count him to 8 and then tell him, no, you can't continue. I just think that was all rigged at the end of the day. I think Triller might have had some type of influence over the referee that said, if there's any way we can get this fight to stop as early as possible, please go ahead and do it. You know, I don't know what was going through that referee's mind at the end of the day. I get it. You know, Triller wants headlines. They want their guy to beat a combat fighter. Yes, Ben Askren is a combat fighter, but he's not a striker. He's a wrestler. So it's like, he got the victory, but I feel like it's meaningless because who did you beat? You didn't beat anybody that can use his hands at the end of the day. And then you factor in, you know, they want the headlines. Oh, Ben Askren gets knocked out in the first round, by YouTuber. They want that stuff so they can sell the next set of pay-per-views. And this is what's going to make me really cautious about watching these pay-per-views now, because now it just seems like the referee is, whoever they get to referee, there's going to be a lot of favoritism, and it's going to be in the favor of Jake Paul to basically put him in position to win the fight as quick as possible and to make sure that he does win the fight. I think they also understood that, Ben Askren's chances would increase the longer the fight goes. Ben has an awesome cardio, and we still just don't know how good the cardio is of Jake Paul. Now, he did release some footage with him sparring with Mike Perry, and at the end of 6 rounds, I believe it was, you saw, Jake Paul just being completely exhausted and drained. He looked like he had been through war and he was absolutely tired. Now, I wonder how an extra 2 rounds would have fared for him, especially with somebody as good as cardio as Ben Askren. And I think that's something they probably wanted to avoid, but at the end of the day, they ruled it in favor of, the problem child, and he has the victory, and now he's going out and calling all different people, and it is what it is at the end of the day. But I have another video that's coming up fairly soon about the stuff that took place before the fight and that took place after the fight, and I want to talk to you guys about it. And this could also be the next opponent that he might step into the ring with. I'm kind of excited about it. I'm looking to see Jake Paul actually face off against somebody that can actually use his hands. But let me know in the comment section what you guys thought of the fight. Did you think it was a fair fight? Do you think it was rigged? Do you think, at the end of the day, they coerced the referee into ending it early? Let me know what your thoughts are. Your conspiracy theories. I'm definitely interested in it. Don't forget to go to competitiveorigins.com. Type in promo code MMA131 so you can get 10% off this Competitive Origins Just an Obstacle t-shirt. Thank you for tuning in today, guys. I'm BPC, and remember, you've been competing since conception. Whether you're competing against yourself or others, Competitive Origins.